Well, here it is. My first government subsidy check in my 4 years of farming. Straight from the Department of Treasury, I guess. So this check is part of the ECAP program, which is Emergency Commodity Assistance Program. So like corn, soybeans, wheat, I don't know, a whole bunch of other grains and commodities that I don't grow are all a part of this. So any farmer who grew an eligible crop in 2024 and registered it with the FSA office was eligible for this payout. It was a flat dollar figure per acre of each crop that you grew and registered. So for me, for corn and soybeans, they paid us $36 an acre for corn and $25 an acre for soybeans. So if you're farming 1,000 acres of both, you know, the 50-50 rotation, that's about a $30,000 check that you'd have gotten either ACH'd or in the mail. But that program went to anybody. It didn't matter whether you were one of my neighbors and had one of the worst crops you've ever had in the last 30 years, or if you were in Illinois and raised 300 bushel corn and it was a bumper crop. It was a flat payment to everybody raising those crops. Now there's two big sides of the farmer subsidy argument. There's the pro-subsidy group, made of both farmers and non-farmers, and there's the anti-subsidy group, made of both farmers and non-farmers. To stay out of the politics of this, I'm just going to give you some overviews of both sides' positions, and I'll let you make up your own decisions. So the group that is pro-farmer subsidy oftentimes will say that if we want a cheap and abundant food supply, you have to subsidize farmers in order to have enough supply to be greater than the amount of natural demand. Another argument for the pro-subsidy movement would be we are competing on an international market with other countries that greatly subsidize their crops as well, and in order to keep food supply and commodities growing in the U.S. at the rates they are, we need to subsidize them. And there's a lot of folks also who say farmers have a lot of things out of their control. The government meddles a lot with the ag economy through different reports they put out. There is a group that feels that farmers are owed a little bit of compensation for how the government meddles with a lot of those metrics and numbers that do impact prices. The other side of the argument says that farmers should not get subsidies and they should compete on a true, fair, free market capitalism environment. And the argument for that would be simple. Let the good producers succeed. The poor producers fail or get knocked out of the industry, like happens in capitalism. And then also, the argument is that subsidies make inputs more expensive. But so, seed, fertilizer, chemical equipment, when you introduce extra money into the ag economy, it keeps all those prices inflated, and thus that group feels subsidies are simply just a Band-Aid on a bullet wound, and they're actually more harm long-term than they are good.